Now you about to dig in and tell people they got to do the work themselves.
I want to remind y'all that just because you hired a coach, it does not mean that you're guaranteed to be successful. You got to put that work in. That work is 110% on you. Hey. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Hartzog Hustle podcast. My name is Anthony.
And I'm Jhanilka.
And we are here to help 9-to-5ers create more impact, income, and influence outside of their job. So if that is you, you are in the right place.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
I'm wearing my Christmas shirt.
She's very festive. She's very festive. And on this episode, we'll be talking about 8 signs it is time for you to hire a business coach.
This is a good one.
But before we get into that, we're going to do review of the week.
Review of the week. I have No Good in New York. Consistent was the title. This podcast is a gold mine. So many gems in each episode. Thank you very much, No Good in New York, which reminds us to let you guys know to make sure that you are subscribing and leaving us a review and commenting and sharing and all of the above so we can continue to impact others with the gems that we share every episode.
Yes. So I wanted to do a pre-topic before we get into the topic because right now, I don't know if you guys heard, Deion Sanders, he is a big topic of discussion right now. And they're talking about him leaving his college to go to another college. So he's leaving JSU to go to Colorado. And people are saying, well, it's not about the money, but it is about the money. But we want to just talk about it briefly. So
so you have a note here. Is that true? At JSU, he was making $300K a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a smaller institution, historically black college, HBCU. Obviously, they have less funds.
I recently learned that probably in the last year before that HBCUs are like very low funded. People were saying like what their dorms and stuff look like. I had no idea. No idea.
You never visited one?
I don't think so. No, I'm serious. I don't think so. Maybe I did a tour before going to college, but like, yeah, I had no idea that they were so underfunded. But to hear $300K, that seems really low for a coach. So I'm kind of shocked at that. And then he's going to how much?
He's going to about $6 million a year or something like that. And it's the way the contracts work. It's not like you get all of that money up front, but a lot of people, they work in their contract where if they stay over a certain amount of years, some of that is guaranteed.
Okay.
So essentially he's 10xing his income.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can't even compare. But ethically, I think that's what people are upset about, the ethics behind it.
Yeah, because I think they thought he was going to come in and be the savior of black colleges. And black colleges.
I thought they did win some games or some.
Yeah, they were a nationally recognized team. But I was even just talking to my barber, and he was like, "Listen, he's gone. I'm not watching the games anymore."
Right. So it's a big impact. I think people were upset because it's like he came in and he had this promise of making HBCUs more recognized. So they felt like he should stay longer because he only stayed for about 2 to 3 years. How long did he stay? 2 years. So I don't know exactly what he said. I don't know what promise he gave. But when we speak about, and I saw people also say, if you say it's not about the money, then that's what it seems like, et cetera, et cetera. And that also means that other students probably would leave as well. They were saying, I don't know. It's hard to look past $300K versus $6 million. I'm sorry.
But he doesn't need, I don't know who doesn't need the money because even if you could be the wealthiest man in the world, you still got generations to worry about.
Right.
And it's not about this lifetime for him.
Yeah. And it's also not about the $6 million. It is about that, but I'm just saying percentage wise, it's a huge jump. Regardless, so if you were making $50,000 and now you're making $500,000, like that's a huge jump that can be life changing for you. And I know people say, well, he doesn't need, and so you can't tell me what I need and don't need pocket wise. But yeah, it's a no brainer for me.
But it also doesn't impact you and your family. You could, if you have more money to give, you have more money in your pocket, you have more money to give. So now at this point, it's not just about him and his family. His generations are set, but now he has more money to give to other charitable causes. And that's the way I think about it. But I think a lot of people are thinking about more of the moral standpoint. It's like you came in, you promised all of this, but who are we to say that he didn't promise or deliver on what he said he would?
Yeah, I'm about to say, did he tell us that? Or this is just what we're assuming that he promised with him being there?
I haven't seen any videos of him saying that I'm going to stay for 10 years.
Yeah. So my other question would be to people is, what would you had liked from him would be my other question. Because I don't feel like there's no win-win situation with people. I always argue that people will always argue to you blue regardless. So what does the majority prefer that he do?
Yeah.
That would be my question as well. Like, okay, stay back another 2, because then I feel like even if he stayed the 4 years and left him the 5th year, we'll be in the same argument.
Definitely.
So I don't know how it makes a big difference, but I'm not so committed to football, so I don't have emotions tied to it either as well. So
I said he didn't ask me. He didn't ask me what my thoughts were before he got the role. He didn't ask me what my thoughts were after the role. But I just thought it was a good conversation because we talk about finances, we talk about making an impact outside your 9 to 5, and he's his 9 to 5 was the football game itself, like the job itself, which was managing a football team. And he's made a huge impact outside of just managing the football team. He bought them a stadium. He's bought them accolades. They've been on national TV. I never heard it at JSU before.
I was ask you what that is. You know, I don't be know none of these HBCUs.
Jackson State.
Unless it's Howard University.
So I think making an impact outside your 9 to 5 is huge, and that's what we talk about. So I think he's done that. We're talking about it on this podcast, not to say we're a nationally recognized podcast or brand. I mean, we were on Good Morning America, but we're talking about it. And I've never seen or heard of JSU before this. And
people are eyes to it. Maybe people would continue to watch. Not everybody, but maybe some people will continue to watch it. And I guess, like, how much more impact do you want from him? I don't know. That's the question. Like, what are we looking for him to do that would make it okay for you, for us that are home making $80,000, not doing what he's doing?
If you came to me and I was making $80,000 and you said I'm gonna give you $800,000, I'm taking a jump. I'm piecing y'all out. I'm making a move.
Because like you said, he made the impact, but it's just, I guess people want the impact longer.
Listen, you can only impact people. There was a comment that said that you're either progressing or you're dying. So if he feels like he's done all that he could do at that role and at that,
or he
that job,
wanted to do as well. I have wants. I don't need to do. I could say one thing when I get there, and then a year later, a month later, change my mind. Can I not?
Definitely. But if you feel like, even at my 9 to 5, I felt like I was able to do as much as I was able to do. I impacted all the people I could, and it was time to me to do something else for myself. And that's what this next role for him is. By all means, do what you got to do, sir. So that was the pre-topic.
Keep us posted, I guess.
So we're going to be talking about 8 signs it's time for you to hire a business coach, because this conversation came up 3 times this week. I don't even know if you noticed. So one of my friends, he was, and this is for anyone, if you're watching this podcast, you listen to this podcast, one of my friends came to me. He was like, listen, I need some help. And I said,
you said that.
I said, well, I've been helping you as much as I can, but if we don't have a committed relationship where I'm dedicating time directly to you, then I can't continue to do this. You're going to get what I give.
Yeah.
You're going to get my text messages 24 to 48 hours later. You're going to get my email responses whenever I want to, and I'm going to give you kind of half-ass response, because I'm not obligated to dive into what you're doing because we don't have that dedicated relationship. It's not like you're paying me to perform a service. I'm giving you pretty much my time for free. So the conversation came up. I was like, you might need a business coach. And he was like, well, would you be my business coach? And I was like, well, I'm going to be expensive, so you might want to look into a service that you're ready to go for. And I knew that he wasn't ready to pay the prices, because if he was, he would have made a different decision before that. The other question would have been, how much would it cost you for your services to do ongoing coaching for me?
And so what are the other 2 times that it came up?
So, and this is also for anyone who's an entrepreneur and they're at the stage where they need to figure out if they need a business coach or just someone to help them grow in a certain aspect. So the other conversation was one of my other friends that came to me, a brand new full-time entrepreneur, and he literally asked me, he's like, hey, your business coach, which made you go with them? And we're going to talk about a bunch of reasons why.
There's different things, right? I think there's the aspect of what you need to look for in a business coach versus when it is time to hire a business coach.
Yeah. So no, he was asking me, like, when do you think I need a business coach? And I gave it like a quick voice note, but I felt like it was more imperative for us to get on here and talk about it in more detail, because these are also things that we use. If you guys didn't know, we have 2 business coaches in different aspects. One for the practicality standpoint, meaning the nuts and bolts of what we do, and the other one for like mental, the mindset, and the growth aspect of what we do. So we're gonna talk about 8 signs it's time to hire a business coach.
You got a third one. I just want to keep you on.
I don't remember what the third one said.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I just want to make sure you had. I didn't know if you plan to say it. So the first thing that we have listed as when it's time to hire a business coach is when you're starting a business and you've never done it before. So many of us, maybe during the pandemic in general, have never started a business before. We have no idea what we're doing. Let's be very real. I know that the accessibility to starting a business is closer now than it ever was before due to social media, good and bad. I think when we used to think about businesses back in the day, you just assumed a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Never thought about it in a digital realm where it can be run from anywhere. So many of us need to lean on someone, speak to someone about it when we're starting a business that we have no idea about. And even if you think you know a little bit about, I think starting a business will be the first indication that I may need a coach. We're not taught how to run a business generally, unless I don't even know if in business school if they teach you how to run a business.
In business school, they teach you how to bookkeep and
okay.
I mean, I took business management. I mean, technically that should be how to manage a business.
Was it?
But
do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
Generally, we don't learn how to run a business, and many of us that have businesses do not have businesses degrees. Let's be very clear. So
I have a business management minor, so I could technically manage a business. Now, run a business.
Graduated and you got a BA. Do they ask what's your minor? No. So it's usually not taught in school, and we don't know how to run a business. So a coach can help us to do that. What is the silence that you have going on here?
Because you just shut me down, and I don't even know where to pick up on. So the part that you mentioned about it being easier to start a business. So you got a lot of people, especially like you said during the pandemic, where we're hopping online and we're building entities, we're building brands, and we need to figure out like what's the next step. So especially if you are a ground zero entrepreneur. 5 years ago, we were just building our first business. We were ground zero entrepreneurs, and we're not getting a business coach until 5 years later. But then also our mindset has changed where we understand the importance of having a business coach. So maybe earlier on, we probably would have gotten a business coach if we would have understood the importance of having that foundational piece when you first start. So especially if you're a ground zero entrepreneur, you need to think about jumping into a business coach before you actually start thinking about scaling and growing your business.
And to the point of that, some people say to wait till you get money to be able to do that. But if you have the money, get ahead. Right? If you have the money, get ahead. It's similar to what we tell our students when it comes to marketing. Some people say, well, wait till you get some money in so then you can start to market. I'm like, well, if you have the money for marketing, go ahead and do it. You'll get there faster. Why wait? Why am I moving slower? So if you have the money, go ahead and do that. And even if, I think seeing the value as well, like you said, we would have found the money to do it if we understood the importance of it.
Yeah, you said finding the money. Most people don't get a business coach or don't think they need one because they feel like they could do it on their own. So they're like, well, I think I'm the magic pill. I think I'm the one in a million. I'm the one in a million entrepreneur, or I'm the one in a million business owner where I feel like I don't need a business coach and I can figure this out on my own. And absolutely, you're not. You're probably not that magic pill that you feel like you are. So most of the time, it's not because you can't afford it. It's because you don't see the value in it.
That's true.
So you don't see the value in hiring someone. Right. You don't see the value in hiring someone to help you kind of grow and scale because you've never been there before. You've never been around an environment. So now we don't start anything without asking someone, not for advice, but asking someone who's already been in that environment, asking someone who's already doing what we want to do. So it's not about affordability or can I afford it? It's more about, do I feel like it's important enough for me to hire them?
And the last part about this, when starting a business, is they can help you avoid these mistakes. That is what we sing when we talk about our course, Clean Business University. We talk about that all the time. There is mistakes that we've made that maybe financially or anything like that that we can help you avoid by doing this fast track or by having a coach. They can say, been there, done that. You need this, you need that. You need to go to a different platform. You need to do this, that, and the other. So they help you to avoid mistakes big time. Now, can they do every single thing? Of course not, but a majority of mistakes, they'll help you to avoid that.
All right. So point number 2. So mention feeling lost, unable to focus. So our coach helps you prioritize and help you feel more in control. I'll let you start that one up.
So what we mean by that is when we started with our coach, we have all these ideas, right? And we have no idea where to start. So what she has helped us to do and what coaches help you to do is prioritize and get that to-do list together. We all have a running list, be it in our household, be it at our job, our entrepreneurship, things like that. We have this running list. So what that helps us is just prioritizing it to see what's more important. Doesn't mean you need to actually form an LLC because you haven't done that. You need to actually open a business account because you haven't done that. But before, you had in front making an Instagram page and posting pictures, right? So prioritizing that list and getting to that to-do list helps you, because when you speak with them weekly, you speak with them monthly, and they say, do this, that, and the other. And then you come back to them and you haven't done it, you don't feel good about it, right?
You feel like you're wasting
money, time.
Your money and their time.
Yes, you feel like you're wasting money and time. So when you have someone telling you, just like in school, well, depending on how you feel about school, but when you have somebody telling you have this homework to execute and you're excited about it, you usually generally get it done.
Yeah, that was a huge one for us. Like that homework or that accountability that you mentioned from having that business coach, it was life-changing for us because I'm a very motivated person. I'm very motivated by getting the check mark or the gold star. I was the person in the classroom like, Anthony got all the right answers, here's a gold star. Or you got the gold star on the board that they had in like first grade and
yeah, grade. You definitely taking it back to elementary.
Elementary school, we get the gold star for completing a task. So I was very motivated by those gold stars. So I'm the type of person that wants all the gold stars.
Okay.
I'm the type of person that's going to raise their hand. I'm going to be the type of person that does my homework. I'm going to be the type of person that shows up early and gets the job done. That's just in my nature. DNA. So having a coach or having someone that quote unquote gives you those gold stars, it feels like an accomplishment for me. Even though it's my personal life, either they don't give me the gold stars or not, it's really on me. If I don't get the gold star, I don't make the money, I don't run the business, I'm kind of like starving, I'm homeless. But having that coach allows you to get those gold stars. So I think that part was crucial for my personality. mentality. And you got to understand, if you're the type of person who's motivated by that type of stuff, that's the importance of having a coach. But if you hate having someone on your ass and you hate being not pestered, because most of the time they won't pester you.
They're not going to pester you.
Because
when you pay for it, they're like, you show up or you don't.
Exactly. It's your money. So it's really on you to show up. But if you're not the type of person that don't like that accountability, this is probably not for you.
So the part, this point as well with the feeling lost point that we're speaking about right now, it reminds me of just like getting a trainer when you go to a gym. Some people have never worked out in a gym before. When I first started years ago, I got a trainer because then I was lost in the gym. I literally was jumping around to machines. Okay, we're squatting. Okay, we're doing arms.
I remember that.
I had no idea what I was doing. And that's just a prime example of what a coach can do, help you to get centered and know, okay, this is what you use this for. This is what you use that for. And now you're like, okay, because you can eventually move on from the person, despite, basketball players and football players having coaches all their life throughout the time. But you know what I mean? They give you the tools that you feel equipped, and now I can move on to another task. Now I can work on macros or whatever the thing is. That was in reference to weight loss. So that's another point, another example of how they can assist you. Basically.
Yeah, I definitely remember that working out instance where you're just starting off in the gym and you have no idea what you're doing, and that, especially for everyone. I remember when I first started working out, I was working out with my roommate in college, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so I would just follow him in the gym. And when I went on my own, it was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So the more I went with him, and I understood, all right,
this does that.
Bench press, here's how much I can lift. Here's how much I can lift when somebody's spotting me. Oh, after bench press, if you're doing chest, here's the other machines to hit. When I started going by myself and implementing, it's literally just like homework. It's like, all right, I learned this with you. Now I'm going home to implement what I learned on my own. So that was something that was crucial as well.
Another thing is that they help to provide clarity in an unbiased way, right? So you may say, I have all these ideas. This is what's going to work for my business. And they will rebuttal it or say, yeah, no, I agree. That sounds great. Like, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's put this in place. So providing that clarity when you're feeling like you're lost or unable to focus, I think is a game changer, because then you can move forward easier. Then you can move forward with making your to-do list easier. So that clarity is definitely necessary when it comes to running a business.
Because if you are someone who has a lot of ideas, like I talk about my friend Andre Hatchett all the time, and he is a person that's going to help you break down your ideas, segment them, and make sure you understand how to approach different areas of your life. Because all ideas are probably great. They're probably good ideas or decent. Great, decent, good. Okay. Good but there may be different times where those ideas need to start flourishing a little bit more. So you may not want to start a trucking business as your first business, because it's going to be, you need to have funds. You need to have a lot of money. Startup capital is what I would say. So that may not be the first thing that you want to start as one of the first businesses you run. So your coach could tell you that, hey, I know people in this industry, it is very money heavy, it's very cost driven. So this may not be the first business you want to start. You may want to start something a little bit smaller, a little more cost effective, and work your way up to that. So now, 5 years in, the trucking business may be a business you want to start. But
absolutely not.
But year one, it probably wasn't ideal for us as first time entrepreneurs. So they can help you level out what makes sense in your journey, because they know where you are.
The third thing we have as a reason you should get a business coach is if you're feeling discouraged. They help you in that they give you motivation to do things, right? With the homework, along with just the new information, when you're excited about what you're doing, it just feels good. It just helps you to get motivated. Like, all right, let's do some of the things that he or she suggested. Let's look into some of the platforms that he or she spoke about. Let's reach out to some of these people that they're referring us to. And it just gives you the motivation to continue on. Like we said, you're paying for these people. Some people are like, that's enough motivation, but sometimes it's not. Let's be very clear. But when they show up and provide that value, it helps you to not feel so discouraged, because as you know, entrepreneurship goes up and down. We had a recent episode, which we'll put in the show notes, about the real tea of entrepreneurship. So it does go up and down. You sometimes need that encouragement in the business when you're running a business.
Yeah, I know when we hit those low months, it could kind of feel
a lot of self-doubt comes in.
You're like, is this for me? And do I still want to do this? And they're like, yo, it's just 1 month. It's just 1 month. You could, you're really thinking about that you're not doing this. If you take the whole year, out of the whole year, let's say you had 3 months that weren't the best months. Are you still progressing? Did you look over, and let's not just look over the year. Did you look year after year? Did you look at last year, how much you made? Did you look at last year, how much you did this month? So
are there changes that you made? There's so many variables in it, but we usually just focus on that one thing.
Exactly. So when you look at that full picture, you can zoom out, and sometimes times that coach is able to zoom out before you can because they can see your full journey. You're so inundated on the day-to-day, you may not see that full journey. So you may just see that week, that day, that month, or even that quarter, that year. So when they look back and like, yo, remember last year when we did this and you were struggling? Like, here you are now.
And the self-doubt can hold you back from your earning potential. I mean, mindset is such a big deal, and that's why we have a mindset coach, that it can change your business tremendously. Literally, your self-doubt can hold you back from your earning potential because then you start to, like you said, get in your head about things you didn't do, things you wanted to do, things you could have done better. Yes, but is life over? Like, why can't you do this different tomorrow? Why can't you do it different the next day? That's what business is about, up and down. Every business has up and down. Every business, okay? So if you're thinking about it in that way, trying not to they help you not to be so discouraged. That self-doubt, get it out the way. Like he mentioned, when your business is growing, they can see that when you're like, well, we only made $5K this month. And they're like, okay, but last month you made 50. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Or they be like, well, what is the amount of work that you put in for that 5K? Was it the same amount that you did for the 50? Or did you just kind of let things go by? You're like, okay, so you take a real look inside to say, you know what I mean? And it helps you to realign yourself, if you will. Next up, number 4.
So if you're in a frenzy and you're feeling overwhelmed, this is a great sign for you to hire a business coach. And if you're like a normal person, even with a 9-to-5, if you feel like you got some great ideas, you have a side hustle, you're at your 9-to-5 and you're trying to figure out how to manage all this stuff, that's probably the sign that you need to hire a business coach.
Yeah, or EA.
Or executive assistant. Because you really can't progress without understanding what's happening in both sides. So you still have to manage your 9-to-5, and then you got these side hustles, or you got this business and you're trying to manage that as well. So having someone to help you, again, going back to the organization, which is a big piece, having someone help you get organized on that front is going to be huge for you. So if you feel like I'm all over the place in my 9-to-5, and then I'm all over the place in my side hustle or my business, and now it's impacting my 9-to-5, this is probably a sign that you need to hire a business coach.
Yeah, because you probably have orders, emails, customer support, things like that. And now they may have referrals or systems that you never heard of, things that can help you to be a bit more organized, things that can help you to say like, okay, now I can begin to delegate. You know, when we first started in regards to copy from our email, speaking with our coach, they're like, well, should hire a copywriter, right? That's one thing off of our plate that also may bring us in more revenue. Things that we may not have thought of at all, or things that we may not have even heard of, comes up with that. So when you are feeling the frenzy, you're like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, time to hire a coach.
I'm going back to that copywriting example. I didn't even think about
what a copywriter could do.
Yeah, I didn't think about hiring a copywriter internally for us just to work with us. Is like, because everybody does so many different things. Like, no one really wants to work with one person anymore. Everybody's a freelancer. Everyone is everyone wants to teach the thing that they did. So no one's really doing the work anymore. So when they had mentioned like hiring a copywriter, I was like, oh wow, that's something I didn't even think about. So,
and you could be missing some key foundational pieces of your business. When things are chaotic, you know, some people say like they can't think if their bed isn't spread or if their home is dirty. When things are chaotic, there are probably things that you're missing. There are probably things that you never thought of, right? And that is what a business coach can kind of assist with. You know, help you to find who your ideal client is, help you to get orders out. Maybe you don't know any of the apps on Shopify. I'm just giving examples of things, but missing key foundational pieces, if you don't have to, going back to like helping you to avoid those mistakes, is important, I think mentally and financially with getting a coach.
So number 5, the 5th sign where it's time for you to hire a business coach or something, or a coach in general. So when you are sacrificing your time, is that what you meant by that?
Not sure. Yeah, I think sacrificing too much of your time, going back to that do versus delegate, sorry. When you're sacrificing a lot of your time and maybe you're not getting anywhere on it, because I know a lot of times we're like, you know, we set a goal and we're like, we're doing, but we don't really have the knowledge for it, right? So you're sacrificing a lot of your time so they can help you to organize your time. So I know a lot of times when we spoke with our coach and we're speaking about, oh, well, we have to go live and we have to do this, and back to prioritizing, what do we need to do first and how do we implement that? How do we go from there? Basically, things like that. That's what sacrifice meant.
But then they remind you the importance of what you're sacrificing for. You, in your day-to-day, you're not going to remember why the hell you started that business, or why you started that side hustle, or why you're trying to pay off that debt. They're reminding you of that constantly. Like, you're sacrificing your couple hours now so that you could build something that's bigger than yourself. You could build something that's bigger for your family. Building something that's bigger for you down the line. And they remind you that having a coach reminds you that it's not always about today. What you're doing doing will impact you tomorrow or may impact someone else. And it reminds you like, yo, you sacrificing an hour of your time. You may not know who is going to help on the other side of that hour. Like there may be somebody that's sitting there waiting for your message right now that you decided like, you know what, I don't feel like showing up today. And today was a day
that they were coming,
that they were going to show up, that they needed to hear a message. They needed to hear this podcast episode. They needed to listen to your webinar. They needed to show up to your IG live. They need to watch your YouTube. They need to get that email, but you decided that you didn't feel like doing it, and your coach is there to remind you of that sacrifice, that someone is on the other side expecting that result, expecting you to show up. So that's very important too, because someone actually emailed. There was two people that emailed. One person said, stop emailing me so much. They said, I'm tired of your emails. You email me 3 to 5 times a day, which we don't. And the other person said that, oh my God, this is the exact email I needed right now. So me sacrificing that one person, or let's say half of your or a quarter of your email list is tired of you emailing, but you get that one person who actually needs that email today to get them out of that dark spot, get them out that funk, get them and allow them to continue on to do what they're doing. You got to sacrifice that time sometimes. And your coach is there to remind you of the importance of that sacrifice.
Yeah, we needed reminders a few times when we were like, oh, this ain't working. And she's like, but you guys doing the work? Like, what sacrifices are you guys making for the business to work, to be honest? So number 6, we have mediocrity. And so sometimes this goes into what you're saying. Sometimes you lose sight of the bigger vision. You forget high expectations. So if your vision is to make $10,000 in the year, right? Sometimes you forget that and you're just doing little things. You're not actually working towards that. And I think we had a clip one time when I talk about people complaining, and then you speak to them like, how many hours are you really putting in? Like, do you really know how many hours that you're putting into to implement this thing or work on this thing? Don't get me wrong. Of course, there's hardworking people, but majority of us say like, oh, it's just not working, or I can't do this, I can't do that, but we're not really putting in the time.
So you settle for good enough.
Yeah. Or just getting it done. Like, all right, I'm going to just do it. And then you have a coach that goes through with you and they're like, what is this? And you're like embarrassed or whatever. Like, oh, I thought this is great. Or you're like, I know I didn't put my all into it, but they keep you on your toes with that. Like, we're not settling for this. We're not settling for how you're feeling right now, because that happens too. We put our emotions in it. We got to put more into this. We got to make this better. So that's another point. And it helps you to set the standards for yourself, kind of raise that bar that you may not have. Thinking bigger.
We went through one of our funnels last night, or a couple, maybe day before, whatever it was, this week. And we literally sat down with the funnel that was being built, and we literally went through and broke it down. And I don't want to get into the technical parts of it, but it was like, oh, this is just sloppy work. This is just work that, oh, it looks like somebody didn't want to do this, and you just kind of settle like, oh, and when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, it's pretty decent. I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna get the job done. But you have that other person looking at you like, no, that's not what you signed up for. You didn't sign up to be a mediocre person. You didn't sign up to be a mediocre coach or student. You signed up to be, great at what you do. And you can't be great by putting up half-ass homework.
Yep. Because it represents you. Represents your brand.
So you look back and it's like, yeah, it really, I look back and then I call it, yeah, it really wasn't that good. We could have definitely looked over this better. So it's important to have that person trying to pushing you forward constantly. What happened?
You're doing number 7. Are you scared to say the numbers? What's happening?
No. Number 7. So dissatisfaction, disconnected, bored, unmotivated, stagnant, and then you wonder why you're doing it. So they can help you change your perspective. Like a coach can help you change your perspective and get you excited. I'm gonna give you guys I got so many practical examples of this because it's very important. Because I literally text our coach today. It's like, yo, I was watching a video. I was like, yo, I'm hyped right now. And it's like, I wasn't hyped yesterday. It's like, but I'm hyped right now because of just the thought of being able to progress or being able to proceed and just having that help and accountability. And every other 1 through 7 that we already mentioned, 1 through 6 that we already mentioned, I was like, yo, I'm happy again. I'm excited. Let's get it. Let's get to work. I'm excited about the new year. A lot of people, they're excited about the new year because, oh yeah, new year, new me. No, I'm excited about the new year because I'm excited about what we could take from this current year, implement in the new year, make some funnels, make some changes. Some changes. I was gonna say tweaks and changes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
Tweaks. Make some changes, some tweaks, and implement what we're already doing. So I'm not excited about the new year, new me. I'm excited about the new year, old me, and just making changes.
And, they can say something that one little thing that can make a huge difference when it comes to you feeling disconnected or bored. Like we said, you get excited when there's new information. You get excited when they're sending you home with homework to get things done. Those things happen. So if you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling bored and you're looking for something, what can help me spruce this up, if you will? A coach may be the person, because you got to think about it. You're one person, right? But the coach probably has worked with 50 people or 20 people. So they have tons of ideas. It's similar to, I think you say that when we speak about like a doula and like our parents, right? So we spoke to my mother. We have an episode on that as well, what a doula is. But she was someone that helped us to deliver our baby and provide education and support around pregnancy. And we spoke to my mother, she's like, yeah, I remember this, that, and the other. And Tony's like, okay, but let's be clear. You've had one child. She's been around over 50 children being born, right? So there's a difference there. Not to say you don't have any knowledge, but this person probably has more experience in the business than you do.
Well, not even more experience in the business, just more experience around child giving.
Child giving?
Child caring and childbirth and that experience itself. So you have that person who is well tenured in the thing that you're trying to do. It could make or break you. It could change the game for you. And you want to get to the last one?
Yeah, the last one here is you want the support. You want the support with starting a business. It's a personal journey within itself. You need this discipline and commitment for a business. We speak about that all the time, having the support. We have the support of each other. If you're doing this by yourself, especially maybe having someone else. But once again, for each other, we just started this business 5 years ago together, kind of blindly, not knowing the cleaning business, what I'm referring to, not really knowing information. So we're kind of growing at the same pace, regardless of, he listens to more podcasts than I do, but having an outside person come in and tell us, hey, this would be more helpful for your business. This would be more impactful for your business. That accountability is a game changer.
I think that support piece is
and it just helps to make your business successful.
I think that support piece is probably one of the most important parts, because I think this whole conversation has been about support in one way or another. We're talking about 8 signs you need to hire a
business coach
or just a coach. Getting that support is key. Getting that support, getting someone to be there by your side. And now I want to let you know that you're going to have to put in the work. Yeah. It's not like you're going to hire.
Before you get there, they also, before you get to digging in on the person, but they also help you just propel your business. I think that concludes all the stuff that we spoke about as to how they help you propel it. But just those mistakes, that knowledge, that accountability, all of that helps that. Now you're about to dig in and tell people they got to do the work themselves.
I want to remind y'all that just because you hired a coach, it does not mean that you're guaranteed to be successful. It does mean that you have a higher chance or likelihood of being successful. It does mean that you can get closer to success. It does mean that it can open doors for you, but it does not necessarily mean that you hire someone and you are going to be 100% successful, because at the end of the day, you have to put that work in. You got to put that work in. That work is 110% on you. If you go to a classroom, does that mean you're going to be successful if you show up to class every single day? Absolutely not.
And you got to think about it. If a coach is with you for an hour a month, an hour a week, 4 hours, you still have all these other hours.
It's the same thing
in the week, in the month, to kind of get the work done. You have to put in the work. It's just like any of these basketball players, or any of these greats, anybody that plays sports. They have trainers and they have coaches, but outside of that, they can't be with them 24/7.
Exactly.
They give you the information. Now it's on you to implement. So, yeah.
That's it. The accountability is there. Coaching is there. The training is there. But the actual action is on you. So I want to remind you guys that the action is on you. As we enter the new year, as you guys, if you haven't noticed, our episodes have been more geared around getting you prepared for the new year. So as we're talking about getting you prepared for the new year, if you're looking for a new stream of income, looking for a new way to start the new year with more income, check out cleaningbusinessuniversity.com. If you guys didn't know, we have a 7-figure cleaning business. And the best part about it is what?
You don't have to clean any homes.
You don't have to clean any homes.
You can work from anywhere with that.
And you can work from anywhere. And it's a low-cost startup. So if you're interested in that, the link will be in the show notes. Check out cleaningbusinessuniversity.com on learning how to start and scale a 6 or 7-figure cleaning business without cleaning any houses.
And as I always like to remind you guys, thank you for showing up, but also thank you for your support. Please be sure to write your comments. Please be sure to questions maybe you have.
Slow down. Let them know what it is.
Okay, let me slow down. That's the New Yorker in me. I'm like, please be sure to write your comments. If you have questions, subscribe, leave us a review. It helps us to continue to grow and get some sponsorships. That's the goal of for next year, growth and sponsorship. So thank you for tuning in as well.
Thank you for checking out the Hartzog Hustle podcast. We will see you next week. Peace.
Bye-bye.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Jhanilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that money.